You are paying more money to watch less than ever before. Until now.
Streaming services losing their steam.
Piracy websites explode.
Piracy is thriving.
No one is paying $18 a month to watch 2 shows anymore. And if you're thinking about buying a subscription, don't. Because people are watching whatever they want for free illegally. That's why there were 216 billion global piracy visits in 2024. Now just think about that number for a second. That's the same as 5 Super Bowls every day for 365 days straight. Netflix, Disney Plus, and Hulu have lost $30 billion to pirating websites across the globe. In India, half of their population watches pirated content. African citizens barely have money or internet connections, so piracy is their only option. And the USA only cares about cheap prices and convenience. That's self-explanatory. But that still doesn't explain one thing. How did the biggest streaming services become the very thing they sought to destroy? Let's think here. The very reason people stopped using cable was because they hated commercials, it was super expensive, and you were forced to follow their strict schedule to watch TV. If you forgot to record your favorite episode before heading out, you're cooked. It was not designed for busy people. Piracy was originally the anti-cable solution. People were sick of doing all the work themselves, so instead of paying $50 to $120 a month slaving away, they could just watch it on their computer for free. It was honestly genius. And all the big guys could do is create corny commercials to make people feel like criminals. And they got sued for making this commercial because they didn't buy the license to the music. The only thing people were worried about is how risky these sites were. An ad to some random site literally pops up every time you click something. More people were getting hacked than ever before, especially if you decided to pay for premium features on a pirated site. 72% of people who paid for these sites got credit card fraud. You also need to have a little bit of tech savvy so you can avoid getting a virus. Because I promise you this is not a real play button, please lock it. People needed more security without hurting their wallets. So paying $7.99 a month for Netflix and Hulu didn't seem like such a bad option anymore, especially since they had access to nearly everything. Streaming services added the binge watching culture, putting in 12-hour shifts of witnessing peak fiction, completing entire shows in just a few days. Piracy was beginning to fall off since people had a much more affordable and stable option. And best of all is that most of us didn't even pay for it. We all streamed shows under one subscription. I had Netflix from a friend of a friend of a friend, and the streaming industry was still growing. It became worth $375 billion by 2021. But Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock, and Apple TV all came out in 2019 or later. They tried to stand out by releasing shows that are only on their platform. Prices were naturally going up to inflation, and people began paying cable level money to watch everything. And in 2022,
shares of Netflix tanked 25%.
Loss of 4 million paid subscribers. YouTube TV is losing money.
You can't just get rid of something like that.
Hulu app will shut down next year.
Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and Warner Bros. Were all losing hundreds of millions of dollars, and Netflix lost 1 million subscribers. This marked the change of both streaming services and piracy forever. Netflix was the first company to cancel password sharing, then Disney Plus, then Hulu, and then HBO Max. Yeah, I can still use my girlfriend's Max account. And they didn't just lose a couple people. No, they were losing broke college students, entire families, and communities that lost access to these platforms. And the biggest betrayal of them
Netflix has rolled out its first ad-supported plan.
Netflix is adding ads.
I thought Netflix was already that.
Netflix just got rid of its cheapest ad-free plan.
Why I'm getting ads on my movies now?
The same $7.99 plan without ads on Netflix in 2017 is now worth $17.99. If you want to add someone else, yeah, that'll be another $6.99. You can pay $35.99 a month for a bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN just to still have to watch ads. And YouTube TV was originally $35 a month when it released. Now it's $82.99 a month. Virtually the exact same thing as the DVR. People now need 4 to 6 streaming services to equal what used to be in one. Costs skyrocketed just for the libraries to get smaller. Netflix literally deleted 34 movies on October 1st alone. The worst part is that not even subscriptions are enough anymore. Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Paramount all require you to pay a couple extra bucks to watch specific movies, sometimes even up to $20 for a movie. You can either rent them out for a couple days or buy the product for a couple extra dollars. But buying isn't even permanent. These apps still remove shows people paid for without a care in the world, basically wasting your money. Similar to Netflix, Discovery Plus and HBO Max have removed hundreds of movies that people actually paid for. This started the infamous phrase, if buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. I mean, imagine you're hungry, wanting a full meal, and you have to go to McDonald's for fries, Burger King for a burger, Chick-fil-A for nuggets, and Starbucks for a drink, dropping $30 for a basic meal. Nobody's doing that. It just makes things unnecessarily complicated. So hence the rebirth of
Piracy.
Piracy is back. Also known as Netflix for broke people.
It is booming. Increased to 260 billion visits.
If you thought piracy was crazy in the early 2000s, in 2024 it nearly doubled the amount of users. And not only that, they've adapted. 123 Movies, Gojo.live, and Streamies are all professionally designed to look like legit streaming platforms. They sometimes have big movies before streaming apps get them. Most of their content is actually being streamed with good quality, and on Netflix, you can search one of your favorite movies, right? Get your hopes up because you see the name pop up just for them to show terrible movies similar to it. These guys have it. For once, piracy has less ads than the streaming services themselves. And if you download a movie, you can actually keep it. Most people that watch live sports, anime, and exclusive originals use pirated websites. More people are even returning to physical DVDs again. Some people truly enjoy the simple life of heading to a Redbox, grabbing some snacks from the store, and watching a movie with the fam. Half of Americans have pirated at least once in their lives, and 1/3 of Americans pirated in the last year. 76% of Gen Z admits they pirate websites while still having a few subscriptions. These companies might be charging more per person, but they're already missing out on $30 billion to pirated websites, and that number is projected to be $130 billion in 2027. So how are streaming services going to respond? Well, they're running out of time. They're all trying to recreate what Netflix did in 2015, betting literally everything on them standing out from the rest. But the truth is, most of these companies are losing billions every single year just to compete. That's why we've been noticing a lot more of those random originals on every platform. You gotta make sure people stay subscribed, just like you should subscribe right now. Netflix alone owes $14 billion in content debt. Disney Plus and Peacock have lost billions ever since they launched, and Apple TV hasn't had one profitable year since they debuted. They're not removing popular content simply because they hate their viewers. They're just losing more money the longer they keep it. All of these major price raises, extra fees, and non-shareable password changes are efforts to try and cover those losses, not make profit, especially knowing that most of the streamers rely on investor money and loans to survive instead of their own revenue. Now, the foul part is that companies will use the movie losses as a tax write-off, which is basically destroying your house on purpose and trying to get insurance to pay for the damages. In order for it not to be the end of streaming, they're going to have to make a decision these next few years that changes everything. They need to drop their egos and look at piracy as competition instead of criminals. Piracy is the monster that Netflix, Disney Plus, and Prime created, not the original problem. If the big guys remove ads, drop prices, and somehow find a way to increase their size of libraries, they could recover from one of the biggest fall-offs in history. Streaming apps need to put a lot of work in, but if they go back to what made them blow up, the anti-cable solution that's quicker, cheaper, and faster, it might just happen. Because just like DoorDash in this video, the streaming industry is just a ticking time bomb, and it's only a matter of time